This week on Hermitcraft.
I love it, it's so random.
We did a battle bus joke 2 episodes ago, we have no right to complain. Welcome to the Hermitcraft Recap. My name is Pixelriffs, our writer is LoyXP, and today we have to cover the first and second Ravager run, the Storage Wars results, and that little thing called the conclusion of the Hermitville build-off.
No, this is 255 build height.
Yeah, add one more block to that, Scar.
No, 255 is build height.
Try and place a block.
You guys are the worst. You knew this the whole time? You didn't just drop me like a little note in my post box at all?
No.
Like a little like GG, a little like good sportsmanship?
Plus, Grian kicked off a hot potato game, which is different from Tag because it's got green stuff growing on it. All that and more after the different music starts playing. Let's take a look at all the events and mishaps that occurred on the Hermitcraft server this week.
Farm that gives Grian lots of diamonds. That seems like a really good plan to add to that list. So, as long as he follows his own plan, we should be fine.
Starting with Azumavoid, who really brought his thinking outside the box hat to a minigame we haven't mentioned in a while, Grian's Elytra course.
One of the first things that you're going to notice is that I'm just gracefully taking my time.
Despite people giving it a go quite often, judging by the amount of diamonds Grian lost last time, we were just skipping over it as it was the same track done progressively faster. This run, however, cannot be ignored as it was him flying the race backwards. Not truly backwards, mind you, not butt first, just the same rings in the opposite order. Therefore, his run started a whole new leaderboard which he was on top of by the right of being the only one who'd thought of doing this. It's basically how any speedrun community develops, so we're looking forward to the no glitches, any percent, and no elytra categories opening up in the future.
And since I'm the first one doing it this way, and I know that my time will be top, then I get to take my time and make sure that I do this without hitting any of the loops, which is actually No!
The things he's done right side up this week are a raid farm built by the designer of Raiseworks in a long and massive effort on the pillager outpost in the middle of nowhere.
We might set up a shop for these, who knows?
And a revamp of the repair shop, now fully automated.
Affliction. That's their username. I want to say thanks for sharing this design. And wouldn't you know it, literally after I finished building all of this, I opened up Discord and I've got a message from Ilmango with a design that's even smaller than this right here.
Though the design is not quite ready for customers yet, the mega smelter of furnaces tracking how much XP they already smelted for is there in the Derb Mall, and you can find it easily by the overwhelming noises of clicking and piston firing. While we're at the Derb Mall, the Treat Your Chick shop gets a customer for the first time in a while, and Stressmonster is there to provide a personalised shopping experience.
And yeah, like I said, okay, I was not stalking you. Okay, that is a figment of your imagination.
Which takes a turn for the macabre when she hands over the head of the customer's beloved cat. But he already paid, so it's fine.
I know, I feel so bad, but she jumped in with the stupid guardians as I was killing the guardians, and then I murdered her.
I will immortalize her by wearing the
It
head.
looks very good on you, I have to say.
Back at the Ice Fort, Stress's melon and pumpkin farm has gone into overdrive, and she needs some more responsive traders than the two guys at the top of the tower. So she does what any reasonable person would do, she builds an enormous minecart track, sneaks the farmer out of the lab she shares with Iskall, and hides him in a tree.
The sacred apple has been turned. So let's turn it more. Let's turn it more. And it's gone! You are mine. I deserve you!
Not that Iskall is around to notice because he's too busy over at his new Mushroom Island base, which Stress heads over to investigate, but she tries not to leave any fingerprints while she's there.
And I'm assuming that this is a tree farm. With birch in it.
Probably a good idea not to touch anything, since Iskall spends some time putting together a fragile redstone contraption in the chimney of his super smelter. The idea is to have dispensers light and extinguish campfires in the chimney every time the smelter turns on, which is simultaneously the most low-tech and high-tech thing we've ever seen. He's pretty chill, no pun intended, about finding his farmer spirited away to the Ice Fort.
Oh, I can hear him. Oh my goodness, there you are, Bob!
But that might be because when the server updates to 1.14.4, he gets ready to throw down the gauntlet with Mumbo over who can build the best villager setup.
I bet 200 diamonds that my MVIOD will be cooler than yours. Should you accept this challenge, points should be considered in the following categories. Also, everybody cares about ice and chickens. chickens are humans too.
Why they didn't invite Impulse SV to this party, we're not sure, but perhaps it's because he already got a head start, tearing out and rebuilding his crop farm into a combination villager breeder and carrot factory, which would work super great if the farmers didn't keep trying to take a nap.
I don't know exactly what changed, maybe the reach of these villagers, but yeah, I'm thinking, oh man, I'm thinking I might have to give up on the villager breeder part, at least for now.
Though it seems all big-nosed critters are feeling drowsy lately, seeing as how the Ravagers Cub fan caught for his minigame forever ago don't really feel like participating in the actual thing.
So here's an example of Ravager AI in a creative test world. So again, this Ravager is not a part of a raid, and the scenario is very similar to what we have on Hermitcraft. And you can see this Ravager is just simply randomly pathfinding around as you'd expect.
Something glitched out in the giant bull's brains, causing some of them to just stand there contemplating their life choices, and the others to make a beeline for the west, as they've heard life is peaceful there.
This guy is stuck in this corner forever, essentially, which is in stark contrast to the behavior of Ravagers in creative mode.
The newer batch, assembled from local raids, behaved more in tune with their name and nature. When Cub and Scar collabed to try the game out, the bulls did indeed trash them.
Oh, come at me now, bro. Yeah, you want to kill me 25 times?
Past him.
No. Oh, dude, they're still waiting for me.
There's so many. There's so many. Oh, there's so many of them.
This prompted Cub to cover the whole area in beacon effects for the players, to give Team Human a fairer chance. 2 matches with people who weren't Scar have proven this a success. The team of Cub, Azuma and Dokem had no problem dominating the first round, and Team Grian, Ren and Impulse snatched the victory on the second try, though the amount of people trampled was pretty significant. Round 2 was exceptionally strategic. The teams got to pick what colours their competitors will have to get, as opposed to the randomizer deciding it for them. Hopefully more game modes for the Hungry Bull things are coming. If nothing else, you can always get Azuma to play it backwards.
Or can you kind of try to run back here and snag a few?
There
Yeah,
you
nice.
go, yeah, I've got
Okay, I'm coming. I'm coming.
Oh, this is the way we should do it then,
Yeah,
teamwork. Oh, I'm going to die here.
A very different beast has inspired Zedaph to contribute a minigame. His one will be called Duck, and will be dedicated to specifically that activity.
We can now shift underneath that kind of area, hence the ducking, right? That's why the game is going to be called Duck.
Now that the players can fit through 1.5 holes and even crawl when squished hard enough, Zed chooses to put them through a crash course competing against each other. It's all fun and games until slime blocks get involved, and with progressively more complicated acrobatics, who knows what kind of Tangler-like puzzles await you at the finish line.
Something to look better, just leave it. Just put leaf on it, is what I mean to say. That looks weird, but equally people kind of can't leave. Yeah, leaves everywhere. Leaves, seriously, they honestly can make almost any project better.
Grian finds the latest resurgence in minigames at the Hermitville area worthy of corralling them into a new district. Named Hermitland, first without the I because this is clearly a group effort, it's already as big in the footprint as Doc and Etho's game zone from Season 4, but clearly with much less dang in it. Now whether it gets as many games in that footprint before the end of the season is another question, though the whole world is Grian's playground as proven once again by the server-wide minigame he introduces, Hot Potato. The simple goal of it is to pass a poisonous vegetable directly into someone else's inventory without them knowing, making Mumbo the perfect first victim.
Yep, there we go. Oh, his head's on backwards. Mumbo Jumbo. When are you gonna learn?
The twist this time is that the punishment for each participant is decided by what the previous holder wrote in the name of the item, making it limited to the amount of letters you can carve into a potato using an anvil.
But here's the catch. If they catch me giving them the potato or trying to sneak it in, then the punishment backfires and I have to give them 10 diamonds. So it is a risk-reward game. You have to choose your targets carefully and sneak this potato into their inventory with a punishment.
Mumbo's punishment right now is to intro a video in another language, which will probably confuse everybody who turned up looking for a jovial English redstone tutorial.
Sounds... Well, I'm gonna have to start learning a language.
The original tag, for those still asking in the comments, is attached to Good Times with Scar, and recap tag is Dead and Buried, Let It Go. Everyone's favourite hippie Renbob narrowly avoids a brush with death himself over at Hermitville when his Eagle 5-ish camper van gets struck by lightning coming from Scar's nearby thundercloud. which doesn't exactly obey the laws of physics, but hey, neither does anything else at Hermitville these days, and Renbob doubles down on that by hitting ludicrous speed and disappearing into the render fog.
Bits and flames, man. Let's get out of here before the van gets toasted, man. And here I thought Hermitville was a nice, peaceful town to sell some sandals, man. But this is no place for a peace-loving hippie. Goodbye, Hermitville. Renbob will smell you later, man.
Meanwhile, Ren Classic looks on in wonderment.
Renbob, wherever you are, my friend, we wish you Godspeed.
Having gotten out there while the getting's good, Ren invests the rest of his time and diamonds into re-upping his bids on 2 of the Storage Wars lockers. In the end, he's outbid on the art collection by Joe Hills, but he swoops in to win the redstone pile, which turns out to be a redstone pile.
Although the more that I look at it, the more I feel we may have been bamboozled.
At least he can put some of it to use in the eastern line of the HRN, after which he returns to the dojo to explain where all that water was coming from in the first place.
However, on the other side of the dojo is the ocean, so I'm thinking maybe we could work something out here.
Joe Hills is fighting storage wars on multiple fronts, although the first is a domestic dispute about where exactly he should put all of his chests.
But yeah, let's go redistribute some chests full of dirt. Yay!
Yay!
And then hopefully we can get all this tidied up a little bit.
Once he's dropped them off in a storage tower of his hermitage and dropped off some supplies at Rendog's dojo, he has to go mining for fresh diamonds so he can increase and pay off his Storage Wars bids. Upping his bids on the paintings to over a stack of diamonds, he then drinks an invisibility potion and stakes out the art vault just to make sure Ren doesn't snipe his bid. It turns out the paintings were just paintings, and not even by a notable artist, but if there was ever someone who was going to find meaning in the meaningless, it's Joe Hills.
Far less popular than Van Gogh. Worth nothing. What? This is not worth nothing. This is worth so much joy in my heart. This painting is going right in the shulker box.
The other hermit to collect his Storage Wars prize was Impulse, who you may remember wagered 40 diamonds and change on a bunch of cobwebs and a few barrels. Luckily for him, the contents of those barrels turned out to provide a solid return on his investment, and he even has a shop where he could resell the cobwebs.
That'll be nice to help me stock strings and things. Now let's take a look and see if we actually got anything good. What is in this? Please see about this one. Mending books. And finally, barrel number 3. Oh, cha-ching.
So the bidding is over, and looking at the prize money, Mumbo may actually have followed Sahara tradition and broken even. On the one hand, Joe is immediately there to hand over stacks of diamonds for what is essentially a handful of sticks and some wool, but on the other hand, some other prizes are a little more generous. After counting his winnings and getting potatoed, Mumbo starts clearing out a space under his base for both beacons and future villager installations. He hasn't even seen the challenge from Iskall yet, as far as we can tell, but any excuse to dig out a bunch of stone and fill it with light sources.
This space right here is what we've got. I was considering going an extra 4 blocks down, but to be honest with you, I think this is more than big enough.
But he admits he can't do much until the server update, which happened a few days after his upload, so we'll have to wait and see what he's got planned.
I mean, when I've been on here with no people on, it does actually work.
Now, before we get into the build-off that's been keeping the whole fanbase on its head for a while now, we return to TFC's Upside Down Room, which he finishes this week by swapping the ceiling and the floor. If that wasn't uncomfortable enough for you, he floods another cell of the vault from top to bottom. When the room advertised a waterbed, this was not what we expected. Still, if the Sahara beacon is anything to go by, they'll probably thwart his plans yet again by installing a conduit.
Let's see, what else do we have here? Well, we could say this is an apartment with just nothing but a bed. I don't know.
It's already messing with Concorp's buyout program that basically has the customers restocking Concorp shops for a reward, something Grian exploits for his own profit.
2 stacks of clear glass for 1 diamond. And we're selling 3 stacks for 1 diamond of sand. That means I can force Concorp to buy Sahara sand by turning it into glass. Now, if that's not stonks, I don't know what is.
Funny enough, despite what some DocMs will tell you, this is actually how you play on the stonks. Buy low, sell high, etc. We just think it'll be funny if the whole Concorp versus Sahara war that our comments section has been predicting forever now ends up happening purely in the art of bureaucracy. As for the more creative application of materials, it's finally time to talk about the home stretch of the Hermitville build-off. We kept it for last just to postpone talking about the penguin.
I want that as like a figurine on my backdrop for my streams.
First for the week, Scar discovers the dragon that made nest on top of this horde of houses, but he already has a response prepared. The beanstalk leads to the clouds, and the clouds should hold a giant's castle. So a small replica of that base Jevin blew up is in order, as well as a chibi version of what Scar would look like if he was bigger. This is Peter Dinklage in Infinity War levels of confusing. To defend his fortress from any other magical creatures, Scar has given himself a toy cannon that toy fires a toy cannonball at Grian's house for some very much real damage.
I've been staring at my face for 10 minutes trying to determine the colors that are made up within my face.
Iskall reacts to all this the way we expected him to.
What is this? What is this?
And after pondering exactly how he's going to complete his own tower to build limit, his logical conclusion is to build a penguin, which is dabbing for some reason, and has hair made of glass.
Now, of course, the penguin needs a little bit of cool spiky hair on the very top here, so I'm just gonna add a little bit of this stuff, I think.
There's an amount of logic here, but that amount might be 0. Grian shows up last, and in the insanity that this competition has become, settles for just adding even more house to his house. But he does make a point to deflect Scar's cannonball with a dragon blast so it hits Mumbo's white flag, as the last hurrah to the spoon's surrender. Now tied for the top spot with only a fraction of a block between them, the three come together to shout at each other from the rooftops like the happy neighbours that they are.
How do you guys think we should finish the build-up?
I don't know, but I know one person being on 256, which is build limit, Scar.
I can't hear you.
In a more civilised way, they decide to go for a scoring system to settle this. Each of them will rate the other two's houses on a number of qualities, and the one with the most overall points takes the metaphorical cake. Basically, they're going to roast each other's builds, but with numbers this time instead of dragons. After much consideration and examination of each other's properties and build skills, the three come to a unanimous conclusion that Mumbo Jumbo does in fact lose.
Can we just agree that Mumbo loses?
I think
F's in the chat, guys.
If that's not a draw, I don't know what is.
But because we ain't soft like that, we decided to break the tie with the power of a community vote. In the iCards today, you will find a poll deciding who was the true winner of the build-off. In practice, however, we've seen that any poll involving Grian on this channel ends up being won by Grian even if he didn't actually participate. So we've removed Grian from it. And we've also removed Iskall for pretty much the same reason.
We got 55 points.
And finally, there's Welsknight, who might just get off with a sizable part of that house stack Grian owns, and a sizable part of the rest of the things Grian owns.
That a certain someone on the server decided to use my glass shop as an advertisement, and blew it up, and didn't even fix it.
You see, in his stroll across the comments section, Welsknight has found that the shop he hasn't restocked in forever was used by Grian to film a certain Sahara commercial. And while filming without a permit is not that big of a deal, it's important to know that the part that was filmed there was the bit of Grian busting through a wall with TNT.
I haven't decided just how much trauma it has caused me, and how I'm consulting with my attorney to see if I can figure out what my emotional trauma is worth.
Already calculating the amount of cash he can squeeze from it, former paralegal Welsknight returns to Lakeless Manor to add a chimney and tidy up the insides. Some throw pillows, chimney, couple rugs, maybe a wall or two, and the property is ready to be lived in or be flipped. Just ready up your Dinnerbone name tag. And that's just about it for this week's recap. Our writer is LoyXP, and my name is Pixel Riffs, and thank you for following us and the Hermits through a full year of Season 6. If you want to see me and Zloy fight some mutant penguins that definitely do not dab, a link to that episode will be in the end screen theatre. Don't forget to leave a like while you're still here and subscribe so you won't miss future recaps. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.